Hi guys, what's going on? And welcome back to another episode of Conqueror's Blade. So today I wanted to be taking a look at Spear Sergeants. I've been playing these guys for quite a while now, and the more and more I play them, the more I seem to get the hang of them, and the more I've been enjoying them. And yeah, I'm starting to find them to be a really nice unit. So just to have a little bit of a look on the unit tech tree, just where they are. Obviously, they're one of the chivalric units. They're actually one of the better value heroic era units because they're not technically listed under the heroic era, and sort of because of consequence, they only cost 7,500 to unlock. But they're actually, because they're a 4-star unit, they class as one of your heroic era unlocks, so they push you towards the golden era that little bit closer. So yeah, well worth getting, even if you're just trying to push to the golden era, because they're a lot cheaper than trying to unlock something that costs $15,000 points. So they're a good value unit in that sense alone. See, like the men at arms, they cost 15,000 to actually unlock them, so it's kind of that balancing thing. So if we actually look at the unit themselves, kind of how they work, they're like a cross between a shield unit, so some of like the Eastern Star shield units like Imperial Spear Guards or Iron Cap Spearmen. They're that type of shielding wall unit. But they have the benefit they actually do a decent amount of damage as well. But kind of as a bit of a sacrifice of some of the block potential, as their shields aren't anywhere near as big as those of the Eastern units. So they do still take a little range damage when under heavy fire. They're not quite as good on defense. They don't have quite the same sort of hit points and defense points as, say, something like Imperial Spear Guards. But they do still hold up really well in most of those sort of situations, and the fact they have their potential to actually deal out a decent amount of damage as well. Because if we go and look at their unit stats, you'll kind of see they deal piercing damage. So the piercing AP is 1411, which is a really good base, followed on by 1183 base damage. So they actually really have quite good, decent defensive capabilities. When you can combine that in that, I've almost got 700 piercing defense, and that's only going to get higher once we get onto this little bonus over here as well. So we're going to be well around the 750 mark, something like that by the end. They, also have that good damage. So they're a pretty strong and sturdy unit. In terms of the bulk of the veterancy, I've been going for the bottom line, sort of pretty much for bulk, mostly for its anti-cav abilities, because they do have some degree of anti-cav ability. If we come down, you see increased damage to cavalry by 15, and then increased damage dealt while blocking cavalry by 8%. So if you're actually in a shield wall formation rather than like cover command or something like that. And then you get an ability to stun enemy cavalry here at the end as well, which is kind of nice. So yeah, that's kind of the unit. They go up to level 18 in total. In terms of abilities, I don't even know what you see to show you on this anymore. Does it tell you anywhere? No, probably not. In which case, they have their main ability that they have beyond creating a shield wall is cover commander. It makes them really nice. They really group up on you. Makes them excellent for killing enemy heroes. If you can knock down an enemy hero and then get your spear sergeants to converge on you, you have 32 units who all will turn inwards and stab the enemy hero. And they go down super fast because of the good damage potential of this unit as well. You also probably noticed I'm running 3 doctrines. This is a really nice one. I got the Breakthrough Doctrine, increased damage dealt to units by 95, give them a real boost to their offensive capability. Then we've just got a little bit of a piercing defense boost, because that's why they're close to 700 piercing defense. Gives them pretty decent blocking against range, as well as some melee damages. And finally, I increased piercing armor penetration by 75. That took them from about 1350 to about 1411, something like that. So that's why that works pretty well. Anyway, let's hop into a few clips now I've had of these guys over the past sort of week or so, and we'll sort of talk about a few of the battles and how they get on in them. First battle, and we're still halfway through the battle so far. I've been using my prefecture archers for a lot of the time, but I've come back, spawned back in with my spear sergeants, and I'm heading back to the front line. These things were starting to get pretty hot up near the end of this corridor dead ahead. Quite a few enemies were pushing pretty hard, and we had quite a few ranged units on the team, but not that much in the way of melee units. Let's turn the volume up a little bit on this. So I thought it was worth kind of getting on the offensive and trying to see sort of what we could do in terms of capturing these guys out a little bit. So I push up, bring my spear sergeants up. Initially, I just put them into their wall formation just to hold this sort of position, because they're out of range of artillery, they're out of range of trebuchets in this point. I thought, pretty safe point. Just wanted to have a look what was going on, seeing where we were. And then I noticed those friendly units of Imperial Spear Guards were just going for it. And I thought, well, the enemy is largely on the retreat. We've got Imperial Spear Guards. If I can throw the weight of my spear sergeants on that as well, it's probably going to be enough. Poor musket, full wrath of the slightly overpowered poleaxe ultimate there. And then there's another enemy poleaxe guy who just gets really caught out of position by the bushing. I know what he can do in that sort of situation. But that push really enabled us to then get to the back and get in amongst all the enemy archers who were kind of at the back trying to bring down support. And of course, they're now there undefended. Pretty well get slaughtered dead quick. And then, of course, these poor domain spears, they're not really up to that much as a unit. And, of course, poor guys just go from 0 to 0 in about 3 seconds flat. We gain ourselves a nice few kills, but nothing particularly amazing representation of the unit there because, I mean, no matter what you had, those poor guys didn't really stand a chance. They got outnumbered by a much higher class unit. And, of course, they went down really, really rather fast. A few kills on this guy. You'll see how much damage the spears just do super quick. Unfortunately, he lags out and we managed to miss just the very little tipping end of the kill. But you saw we took him from like almost full health down to basically nothing within about a second or two. These spear sergeants absolutely just crush heroes when you catch them in the middle. So then as we pull back, I saw these prefecture guards. Tried to go in with a CC to get them knocked down pretty badly, which they do. Get a few kills there with the spear sergeants, but there's a lot of guys here and we push down the ladder because we've basically cleared out that side of the wall now. And I was thinking about checking out the bottom because I noticed there was a few enemy units down here. And I thought, we can pin them down, get them stuck into a bit of a fight. So as we round this corner, I noticed these archers. It seems a bit of a brave move for them to stay and fight, but I stuck on advance with the shields up. Unfortunately, I think we get caught a little bit on some of these obstacles and they come out of advanced mode, which is a little bit unfortunate. But by the time they actually shoot, he uses his grape shot, but it really wasn't a very good shot, or he just did hit the wrong things. And yeah, you can see how quickly that unit of archers just gets absolutely massacred by my spear sergeants. We then get the poor guy pinned down. He gets stabbed by about 20 spear sergeants at once. Loses an absolute ton of health. And that him and his unit just obliterated. That's kind of the strength of spear sergeants in this sort of situation. Because a lot of units, if I had pike militia or something, then those archers would actually have done a reasonable chunk of damage to me. But the big shields on these guys, they act like a proper spear unit. And while they don't defend quite as well as something like an Imperial Spear Guard, they soak up damage like that brilliantly. And you can see in this situation, I'm just using them as a much more offensive unit than a defensive one. But they just work so well in cover commander in this sort of situation. I do find when things start to get a little bit more out of control, so I'm starting to get myself outnumbered or I get myself stuck into a bad situation, I then tend to be much more making use of things like the shield walls to make a line and stuff like that, because then you're giving yourself a place to fall back to, you're giving yourself your allies somewhere to work to. So that tends to work really well. But for now, I'm finding on this sort of match where it's kind of much smaller fights, where I'm kind of the dominant force, then cover commander works much better because of the extra damage I can do. I felt a bit bad for this guy. His pike militia or his spearman that his ally had with him basically just left him. And then my spear sergeant just cut that hero down. And then, of course, I mean, I'm not going to complain. That's 2 full units of archers I've just had 3 kills on, basically. But, I mean, I felt sorry for the guy. These guys just charge off over here into nothing. So determined to get the range. But it really costs them, and they don't even do it very successfully. They don't kill the full enemy range units. I just get in and finish off what's left. Yeah, not really very productive for them. So by this point, we're sort of up to 40, 50 kills, something like that. And I noticed we'd lost a couple of units, and a lot of them were pretty low on health. So I'd go and rock them into their sheltering mode, just throw them onto the supply point, get them healing up a bit. I'm conscious we've only got a couple of minutes left by this point. 2 minutes 50, and we want to be defending, we want to try and hold that A point if we can. But at the same time, I want to try and get my spear sergeants healed back up, because they're such a strong unit, and a lot of them were pretty low on health. And by getting them all back to health, then we're really we've only lost 2 units, and everyone else is now full health again. So it really kind of works quite well in that situation. So I've got them healed up, and then I'm pushing back in. Same basically as right at the start, we're being pushed really heavily along this line here. So I come up and I put them in this little shield formation. Unfortunately, a few of them glitch out, and this is my fault, I'm not paying enough attention. A few of them glitch out around the corner, you can kind of see them there, where they've glitched out and gone around the corner. And so we start to take some losses, and it takes me a while to actually realise what's going on. And then I realise, you think, damn, I'm just throwing units away here. So I try and put them on a forward formation. But again, they kind of get a bit caught up in the wall, get a bit glitchy. And again, we're just taking losses, taking more and more losses. So I whack them onto cover commander to get them to pull back, because they retreat pretty closely with you. They don't just go off and attack. Like if you stick prefecture guards on cover commander, they'll charge out. But these guys on cover commander just stick really closely to you, which is lovely. So, but yeah, I threw some units away there that I didn't need to do. So it's a bit disappointing for me. But then we killed one of their heroes, and their spear wall retreated. So I think, right, sod it, 1 minute 30 left. Now what have we got to lose? Let's get back on the offensive. And that we do. We start to push this unit of spearmen, pikemen even. Get an enemy hero kill. But yeah, we take quite a lot of losses doing that on these pikemen. These pikemen do a very, very good job of holding that line. It's unfortunate, and then this short sword breaks through, starts to get some real good damage on. Kills a lot of my remaining spear sergeants because their health's now pretty low. I decided to chase this guy down because I didn't want him to be able to escape and get on the cap point super easy. So we start to chase him off. He just gets away there, so we give pursuit. Trying to get him in, he gets a stun on an enemy, and we just managed to get that last little bit of damage on and secure the kill on him. Just quite pleased about. Obviously, given I've got no health left, I go for the heal up. Still for 40 odd seconds left, so I'm thinking, well, we've got this at this point. We've held the enemy at the corridor. We've done what we need to do. So I just stick them on cover command, and my poor two guys are left, and the two surviving members of my spearmen, and just go on the offensive a little bit. Look for a few people to have some kills on. And even though the unit is pretty well completely depleted, you'll still see, if you look at the side, you'll notice they still get a little bit of damage. They're still hitting for 1,000, 1,300, even with only 2 of them left. They're still not a useless unit, even when diminished. They're still a pretty powerhouse throughout the game. And that's pretty much that it for this battle. We just get stuck into these guys. We actually start to drive them back again. They were nowhere near getting point A. We had a very good team, and they didn't, so it's not just reflective of the spear sergeants, but they do serve very well in this sort of purpose. When you can get them on equal or only slightly disadvantaged fights, they work really well because the damage they do is just so great. Anyway, let's look at a second battle, and we'll kind of see there, because you can see on this one, does it show you, do I show you how many points kills I got with the spear sergeants? Yeah, 65 and 3 hero kills. So anyway, let's hop into the second battle. So, we are on to the second battle, and we're midway through a siege. I started this battle with longbowmen. We've been kind of fighting over the A and B point for quite a while now. But eventually we got pushed back, my longbows got killed. They did me pretty proud, actually. I quite enjoyed them, got some 80 odd kills with them, so I quite like them as a unit. But anyway, I pulled back, went to the supply point because I didn't get killed, and got myself some spear sergeants. Then I was thinking, kind of, what do we want to do here? I'm thinking C point. Looks like we've got a reasonable people on the wall over D, so I thought that was going to be okay. And I noticed a few enemy heroes have been cutting through this gate, so I thought they were going to start to push through this gate, because they'd just captured A point at this point not long ago, and they were all flooding up. You can see them all flooding up the main gate and coming over. But then they just don't really come through this gate. And you can kind of see me expecting them to come through, which is why I've set my spear guards up here, my spear sergeants, because I thought it would protect our range behind and help to hold the C point. So you can see me sort of thinking about this. I'm trying to hold them off. But just nothing turns up. There's actually no one bothers to come this way. So you can see me thinking about it. And then I notice they've gone over the walls of the back. Of course, pretty poor thinking on my part, but there we go. And then we see, yeah, I try and think, so they've got these pike militia. It's the best way to deal with them is, if you've got to deal with them, is just to go ham. The longer you take dealing with them, the more damage they do to you, basically. It's almost like they just apply damage over time. So if you can just crush through them and flatten them as quickly as you can, then that's the best thing to do. So as I said in the first battle, when I'm feeling outnumbered, I shield wall. And I felt that this wasn't a certain battle. 3 enemy heroes, lots of stuff still coming down, reinforcements coming down. I didn't know if we were going to hold this point, so I went shield wall. It protects our range behind. It gives me a base to fall back to. It gives our allies a base to fall back to, a line where they can roll behind and be safe. So that's what I'm thinking here, and that's why I'm going a bit ham here. But then, as things start to develop, as the battle goes on, I think we start to get the advantage here more and more, and as we start to get the advantage, I think it's time to go back on the offensive, start trying to push them back and off the walls. We get clipped by that halberd charge, which does a lot of damage, but then look how quickly we just absolutely decimate that unit of halberds. They just go from a full unit to nothing in like 3 or 4 seconds, and that's just the damage potential of these spear sergeants is just so high. So yeah, you can see that kind of that's how I think about in terms of shield walls and cover commander. That's kind of where I flip between the two. When I feel in trouble, I go for a shield wall. When I want to be aggressive, that's when I'm on the cover commander. So I pulled back and hesitated a bit there to give myself a little bit of a chance to heal. It's actually kind of a mistake because they get all these squires over the wall. And I realise I'm getting caught into a fight here where I'm fighting squires, but they've got archers really close behind and they're getting a ton of damage on me. So I think, right, let's start to pull back. And you see one of the great things about cover commander in this situation. As you pull back as a hero, your spear sergeants follow you, but they don't just turn and follow you. They back off with their shields still facing the enemy. And they still stab as well. So it's really nice how they do that. But I pull back, thinking about trying to hold C more in the long term. But then I do notice we had these pikes here, kind of sitting there covering this bit of stairs. I think, oh, well, I'll wait here. And then as I'm doing this, I noticed on the side of the wall, look, the enemy was actually coming around the back. Our allies were. So I get back onto the cover commander, get back on the offensive, and these squires, of course, just get caught in the middle. A dual blades just goes down so fast when caught up in a spear sergeant, because they just have so little armor and so little health that they just don't survive very long. So that was that. That we cleared the wall completely, and we're down to 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's all we have to hold for. There's a few guys here trying to push up the back way. Nothing really much of a threat. That Pole Raptor actually does a really good job. Realizes that things have gone a bit south, makes a break for it. Absolutely the right move to do in that situation. And then, because we've cleared the sea point, I go for a heal. If we've got more time left on the battle at this point, I would pull back to a supply point, because I still have a really good unit of spear sergeants. 22 people is still a good amount of people, but look at their health, they're all very low. But with it only being a minute left, we've only got to hold for a minute. I thought C was secure, but I thought D could be under threat, or at least was the more likely to be threatened. So I stick them back on cover commander, pull them to me, and I try to get on the walls. I wanted to clear any archers along this wall, and I did get kind of lucky here. As they come up, one by one, they march onto the wall into the path of my spear sergeants. That short bow did a good job of getting out, but then I hesitated a bit, but then thought, right, time for you to go down. And look how quickly she loses health to my spear sergeants. And stab. And dead. And thankfully, a few of the spear sergeants even stayed here just to kill off these archers. As they just walk up, including muskets as well, they just walk up one on one. I don't even need to do anything. But this would be the same with any unit. But it's still nice on cover commander because it means you can focus them into just one area and they just do all that damage nice and easily. We get some brave longsword tries to come down, but we just knock him down with my stun. And then, of course, all the spear sergeants turn in on him, and look how much damage he takes just so quickly. And that's what makes them damaging. And that, pretty much, is the end of that battle. Just kill off a few of the units here. So, yeah, spear sergeants. It's like the ultimate personal bodyguard. I just find them to be a really nice unit. As you can see, in this battle, we ended up getting 74 kills and 2 hero kills. A kill-death ratio of 5.29. They're a really nice unit. I find they just work super well in these sort of situations. Even when you get outnumbered, you know, obviously you're never going to win if you're super outnumbered over the whole battle. But if you get outnumbered, can get these guys sort of set up properly and wait till support arrives, they will hold in that shield wall really quite well. Not quite as well as Imperial Spear Guards, but they do damage at the same time. And that, for me, is what makes them a more enjoyable unit to play than the Spear Guards, Imperial Spear Guards. So, yeah, I'm a real big fan of these Spear Sergeants. They work particularly nicely, work well with the doctrines as well, giving them that extra little bit of damage and defense. Works nicely with them. All in all, sort of a really, really good unit. Anyway, if you have any thoughts on these Spear Sergeants or enjoyed the video or didn't enjoy the video, do let me know in the comments below. Of course, subscribe to the channel for lots more Conqueror Blade content, and I shall see you guys all on the next video.